Thank you very much, Jim. Those were good times doing the Shit Creek review, let me tell you. Speaking of the Rutherford Red Wheelbarrow gang, we're putting on a show tomorrow, a poetry reading. Zev Shenkin will be the feature. I want to thank the gang members and wheelbarrows who showed up tonight. Thank you. Oh, and tomorrow, John Trouse will be doing an essay about William Carlos Williams. So it's not to be missed. It's not about the, well, yeah, it is about the plums, right? It's all about the plums, yeah. So I'm going to start tonight with my chapbook, Heaven's Not For You. $14, and I have some. It's, I'll read an intro and 3 poems, or from part of the intro. On an April morning in the year 2000, investment brokers found a poem written in bright red paint on a bathroom mirror in the New York Stock Exchange. The poem goes as follows. I never knew you. The grapes I pop into my mouth didn't come from thorns. I never pulled a fig from a thistle. You built a beach house in a flood zone, but you're no little pig. You're a wolf in a wool sweater. The vandal was never found, but a full 12 years later, the Instagram account Saul Hatarsi posted a picture of a poem taped to a donkey at the Damascus Zoo, also written in red. I'll read that poem for you as well. Let the dead bury their dead. I'll bring you to the river's edge. Who is my mother? Who is my brother? The answer is shaking my hand. The suffering will continue to suffer, but I won't be here much longer. Come on, let's fish for each other. These mysterious words, in their unusual location, generated millions of likes. Their anonymity sparked the curiosity of the internet. Who wrote this poem? Saul Hatarsi claimed he was just a tourist. Similar acts of graffiti and poetry were discovered across social media. There was no solid evidence that all these words were written by the same person. Quite the opposite when you consider they were written in half a dozen languages and were appearing all over the world. The book I'm about to read from is an attempt to make a coherent collection from this chaos. So I'll read the title poem, Heaven's Not For You. If you've ever been angry at your brother, you're a murderer. If you've ever insulted your brother, you're a murderer. If you remember what your brother did to you, heaven's not for you. If you look at anyone with lust, you're an adulterer. If you remarry, you're an adulterer. Heaven's not for you. If your right eye offends you, pluck it out. If your right hand offends you, cut it off. Don't swear by the earth. Earth is God's footstool. Don't swear by your head. You can't change one hair of it. Don't swear by heaven. Heaven's not for you. Thank you. Thanks. This is called Sufficient. You can't worry about your life and care about anything else. Life is more than meat. A body is more than clothes. Look at the birds. They have no laptops or wallets, but they are fed. You've been thinking all morning, but you're not an inch taller. The side yard battalion of lilies you don't remember planting. Calvin Klein has no collection to compete with these. Look at tomorrow's furrowed forehead. Leave it alone, slouching at its desk. Today has all the evil you will ever need. One more from the book. This is called Treasure. When you're in pain, put on your best clothes. Keep looking in the mirror until your hair is perfect. No one else's eye will look for you. No one else's teeth will chew your food. Not even your left hand will sign your name. For a moment, you forget where you are. Then you feel your left cheek burning and recognize the anger in his face. Turn your right cheek toward him. If he tries to take your sweater, give him your coat too. If he hijacks your car, show him how to use the GPS. The sun rises on the evil and the good. Rain falls on the just and the unjust. Any jerk will love the people who love him. Don't pile up your treasure where moths and rust corrupt it. Who can steal your spring morning, no matter how wide it is or how loudly it sings? What can stain the sky? Only rain clouds and sunglasses. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so that's a taste. Moving on to other poems. This is called A Tale of Two Opposing Forces. Once there were two wealthy brothers named Jesus and Diablo. When they grew to their manhood, they bought estates on the same lake. Jesus made a beach out of silver. Diablo made a castle out of shit. His dogs would chew on the walls. Jesus had a large family of movie stars who each had their own city for when they came to visit, which was often, even during their movies. They would relax at the water's edge, and when they walked back home, the grains of silver would simply roll off their bodies. Diablo never visited, but Jesus would drop by sometimes to check on the shit. He was especially drawn to the shit furniture. Sitting in shit, he felt outside of himself while warmly in somewhere else. He could talk to his brothers about things so private they might never have happened. Later on, he would stand up and his robes would be white, white, white. That was his favorite part. Thank you. This is called Crossing. This is the chorus. The crosses are here. Arise. Telephone poles are not a coincidence. Someone familiar has not seen you. She turns away. The meaningless symbol breaks your heart. Your imagined world is attacking you from pointed spaceships, like rain squeezing through a window. This is the chorus. The crosses are here. The telephone poles are real. A train yard of pieces of trains and pieces of track. They go. You merely continue. You are inside a whole train. You are so sure that you are parallel to your life. But the crosses are here. Rise. This is the chorus. The telephone poles died for a reason. Thank you. Okay, now for a different kind of crossing. This is called the Transgender Moment. The question has been asked, why are we always the same? When finally do we see the Renaissance woman, no longer shielded from the prime mover's gorgeous movements pouring from the windows, onto the street. Why are we so afraid to change form? Why am I so afraid? A measure that changes is a measure immeasurable. But the measure taps itself out nevertheless. We can see in the beautiful amoeba a trance of genders, alternation of form. The dancer should be worrying about the music, not the other way around. Timid music shackles the dancer, but humble music doesn't tell us to Madison or twist. Humble music plays itself, and we dance ourselves. We dance from the music, not to it. This is the fearless moment, wilderness moment. Playing cards, motion blurred in black and white. The suitless moment, untrumped, following no lead. Michelangelo's women and Shakespeare's women were boys. Sybil on the ceiling. Ophelia off stage drowning. Woman was the costume full of river that pulled her down. These are the prefigurings of postmodern victory. Alan Turing was not very good at chess, but eventually he beat Kasparov. Once he gathered up enough pawns, white and black, to scout the brambled forest of the board. If I can convince Gary that I beat him, then I beat him. It's a flood of affirmation, like giving estrogen to a gay man. If I can convince you that I'm a woman, then I'm not gay. And you're not gay if I can convince you to kiss me. He gets on his bicycle and becomes my Laura, Virgil, Beatrice, Joel Grey, Earhart's scarecrow. I follow him into his machine. This moment was always here. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, so now that I've read that, I'll try to become Judy Garland for a moment. This is called The Dreams That You Dare to Dream. Last night, Mama, I dreamed about a rainbow. It was curving like a rainbow does, but it kept curving like a big old snake. It wrapped around my head, Mama, so I ate it to save myself. Listen to this dream, Sid. This fellow, this gentleman, he was calling on me, calling on me. I suppose he was courting me. Yes, that must have been what he was doing. I don't know who he was. His eyes were painted on, and I suppose I wasn't being very friendly, And he was crying, nothing loud or dramatic. But these tears, Sid, these tears were falling, and they were perfect crystals. No, but they were round, like crystal pearls. Imagine that. And I felt it so vividly, swallowing every one. You were there, Mickey, only shorter, and you danced like you were laughing with your feet on these big curving stairs, up, tapping like rain, and down like a river, and up and down. I said, please stop. But when I moved my mouth, the stairs started chewing you like some strange kind of applause. Thank you. So I'll try to take that momentum and go into Liza. Liza Minnelli paints her toenails. Toes with a Z, not surreal with an S. Because I was under the impression, in fact, I was quite comfortable there. I have an incredible ability to breathe, even with a great weight upon me. Every night I blame my father for being Italian, as though he were Il Duce himself, marching elephants across the Alps. I sing Mammy only because Mammy never sang it. I don't think of her any more than a cabbage thinks of leaves. But look at my toes, darling. Fosse showed me how to paint them, a kind of sleepy pink. And when I danced, they were a little field of poppies in the wind. I don't know where I get these images. They just fall from the sky like unusual weather. It's like I was born for this. Thank you. This next poem is, and I'm not going to do a Marlena Dietrich because it's not really about her. It's called I Want to Call Everything Marlene. I want to call everything Marlene because there is no Marlene. And I'll be talking to her on the darkest, rainiest days because whatever it is, however amorphous or unrecognizable, no matter what is in my eyes, it will be called Marlene. What fools we are for not running like mad while we have legs, only because we haven't called the road Marlene, or because there was one mailbox we forgot to write it on. Nobody else will call the hedge Marlene, or the shadow of the hedge where a cat might be hiding. Nobody else will use that name on the flickering pickets of fence. The silence of driveways and moon clouds is reason enough. Thank you. Okay, two more. I'm going to just be a man getting old. That's all I'm going to be. A man will get a haircut. One time after she finishes, when she presents you to yourself, only white hair will be left. And one time the mirror will be a desert, by which I mean there will be no place for you to sit. There will be that time when her hands in your hair will become your only thoughts, holding everything you've dreamed. And when she presents you to the desert, she'll be holding the camel hide you are to wear, and the wild locusts and honey. And she'll recite the prayer you are to repeat over and over to the wind, until your hair finally forgets your head, until the splayed scissors kite madly on a crowded beach to the delighted surprise of seagulls, and the waves carve out new barbering girls from the hungry, angry sand. Thank you. Thank you. And I'll end it with the Men of Cardio Rehab. Okay. We are the men of cardio rehab, marching on treadmills, charging on stationary bikes, into the valleys we programmed. We know the reason why. We drink seltzer at the bar with bitters. And when we sing karaoke, we sing every song to our hearts. Should I stay or should I go? Is Hamlet's question. We stay. We see the view from here. It's hell. We pedal backwards. We battle the eventual. None more alive than we, the old. We panting men. We tired, wired chests who move, then rest, then move again. On a road that never turns. And all we have to do is never get to the end.